Good morning, my people. Today, I definitely think we've got a good one that many of us need to hear and through. 1 second, let me just sort out on microphone. Right, blue snowball. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right, my people. Right, let me just start that over again. Now I've got my setup a little bit better. So today, I definitely think a topic that needs to get discussed within a good time frame. Obviously, Christmas coming up, and around this time of the year, we've got a lot of social occasions and a lot of occasions where we will almost have to participate in events where we do need to eat and participate, be present with family, with friends, whoever it is. It's irrelevant, but generally, these things do revolve around food. And that is inevitable. We can't really avoid that. The first thing that we really need to cover and make sure that everyone is on board with is, firstly, it is normal and is a human thing to do to actually overeat. Many of us do it. I've done it. It's not nothing out of ordinary. It's okay to be food focused. It's okay to, overindulge at times. And, you're not human if you haven't done it. It's as simple as that. And do you know what? If any bodybuilders or anyone in the fitness industry, anyone who has gone through a diet tells you that they haven't overindulged at one point or another, sometime in their life, they are a liar. It's simple as that. Because let me tell you now, everyone has done it. And it's just a case of experience and maturity that comes with the control factor, which we all learn from time to time. And we all learn as we develop and as we are deeper and longer in the business of doing what we do. So I've got some points that I definitely think are very useful to cover. The first one is the social occasions that we go through and off-plan eating. It should always be created around happiness and around participation. What I mean by that, that occasion should make you happy. You shouldn't feel anxious around being able to eat with your friends, with your family. That occasion should be about participation. It shouldn't be made about food. This is the biggest error that people make. Whenever you have an occasion with family and friends, do not make it about food, make it about them. And I think that is the biggest error people make. Instead of planning what you are going to do with your friend or your family or your girlfriend, you plan what you're going to eat instead. And I think that, again, straight away, that will create quite a big issue. I think the best thing that we can do is focus on participation. And more so, you need to focus on what you are doing and focus on your partner. For example, last night, went out with some friends, had some food. The main focus was having actually a good time together and having actual conversation, meaningful conversations across the board, not just making it about food and taking our time whilst we eat as well. So participation is the main thing. And the second thing, happiness. These occasions are meant to make you happy. And food does make people happy, makes me happy, and I'm pretty sure it makes all of you happy. And if it doesn't, then I think there's something wrong. Let's face it. So I think the perception also needs to change when it comes to off-plan eating and when it comes to the meals itself. The way we perceive food, again, these occasions sometimes can be used almost as a tool to kind of express ourselves, where we just go all in. And I think the perception needs to change where the food isn't going anywhere. So have a meal. Do not go all out and treat it like it's your last meal and you are about to die. Like, you are not on death row. So, you are going to be able to do that and repeat that meal over and over again. So, don't necessarily make it just about the meal. I think the perception of these off-plan meals on occasions needs to be changed to where your focus isn't solely on food. Big highlight, food. That is the topic, just a reminder. But that again, the perception needs to change a lot. And with me, my perception was always wrong, because the way I used to approach it, it used to just be an all-out food fest for me. I used to just be like, right, I'm going to have a party with myself tonight. And I kid you not, I can probably find a picture of my previous off-plan meals when dieting was pretty shit. I would literally have a whole table to myself where I would order every single takeaway going. And that is not a good place to be. And that was just down to over-restricting myself. And it led to quite severe issues to the point where, I'd be eating and I'd be like sick some days. And, that's not where you want to be. Like, it's not productive. Mentally, it just drains you, because I was almost dreading the times where I would be eating off plan. And that's not really where you want to be. You want to be in a place where you look forward to these occasions. And again, make it an occasion. Do not make it just about food. Like, ever since I've kind of changed my attitude towards eating off plan and eating out, it's more so an occasion now. It's not really just the food. Again, what I missed out on most in prep through not being able to eat was the occasions. I wasn't able to have, quality time with my friends when they was going out. I wasn't able to have quality time with family, with Meg, the usual date nights. So that's what you really need to make it about. You don't need to make it just about the eating side of things. So the best thing to do as well is planning ahead. If you have got a calorie target for your rest day, for example, myself, my rest day food is sitting at 4,000 calories per day right now. If I'm going to have an off-plan meal, and I know that off-plan meal is going to be 2,000 calories, I will reduce my food slightly during the day to be able to accommodate that and have a little bit of a buffer. Again, it's never really going to be 2,000 calories that I'm going to eat, because the size of the off-plan meal is just not quite that great anymore for me. So, for example, last night I had the sushi and some brownies, and all I did, my biggest calorie dense meal of the day on my rest day is my salmon and bagels. So I pretty much swapped that meal for the salmon and bagels. Early on in the day, I pulled a little bit of fats. I increased my veggie intake so I'm not starving. Yeah, that's the biggest point. You cannot reduce your food so you can eat extra. That is not what I'm saying, guys, because many people reduce their food just so they can fit more calories in later on the day and eat extra. Again, that's creating a bad habit, and it's almost creating an issue where you're almost starving yourself in the day so you can fit more food in. That is not a good place to be. So do not reduce the food to the point where you're going to be starving, but it's simple. Reduce the calories adequately to portion out and make a buffer for that meal that you are going to have. So it's a case of planning ahead. If you are going to a steak restaurant, if you're going for a burger, don't choose the burger that's going to be 3,500 calories. Choose a burger that's going to kind of not even match the calories. If it goes over slightly, who cares? If you gain a couple of pounds, who cares? But the difference should never be to a point where you're gaining 2-3 kilo from an off-plan meal. That is when you know you're going in too much, and you're probably not planning ahead enough, and you're not creating that buffer of your calories so that you stay within that limit and stay within that range. Last night, I'll be honest, I didn't even hold back. I ate until I was full, and I ate until I enjoyed myself, and I literally put a pound on. Normally I drop. So normally I do restrict myself somewhat with off-plan meals. Yesterday I did not, because everyone will want to go in. So that's what I did. I participated. But again, it wasn't to the point where I felt sick or, I was uncomfortable. I still made that buffer during my day. I lowered my calories across the day, and I wasn't going to that meal starving. Do not ever go into your off-plan meals when you are completely starving. You will eat more, and you will continue, and you will not stop. Food tastes better when you're hungry. That's a fact. Second fact is, when you're hungry, you're going to eat extremely fast. When you eat extremely fast, it takes somewhat 20 minutes for your brain to actually register, interconnection between your brain and your gut that you've eaten and your belly's actually full. This is why the guys that do like food challenges, they really go in hard to begin with, because the brain doesn't actually register that your belly's full. So you still feel hungry. Do you follow me, guys? So now when you go into off-plan meals starving, you're going to be waffling your food in super quick. And then next thing you know, you're feeling starving, and then 30 minutes later, it just hits you where you're like, oh my God, I can't move, I'm stuffed. And it literally is difference between like a couple of minutes. And I'm pretty sure every single one of you watching this can probably be like, yeah, that's so true. That's me. And you know what? I'll hold my hand up. That is me at times. Who cares? But we all know these little things that we can do to actually mitigate the damage and limit ourselves and somewhat be more mindful. The biggest thing that I focus on as well, I'm a pretty fast eater, and that is a bad habit through working doors and through having jobs that required me to eat fast, like PT and etc., where I knew back in the day I only had 5 to 10 minutes to get my meals in. So I chew really fast and I eat really fast. The biggest thing I do not do when I go out for meals and eat out or eat an off-plan meal is eat quick. I specifically slow down and take my time. So I try and double the time that it takes me to actually eat the food, because one, I actually get to enjoy it more because I'm taking my time. And two, I'm giving my actual gut and my brain a chance to actually, acknowledge that I've eaten and that I'm probably full. And I tell you now, guys, the amount of food you will be able to eat is halved if you actually take your time eating it. I actually do have an extensive list, because, I didn't want to miss anything out that could actually benefit, guys. So another thing that I like to do is focusing on people rather than food on the occasion. So yesterday, again, went out with the boys and I focused on having an actual conversation with the guys rather than just getting stuck into the food. And unfortunately, mine and AJ's sushi was late by like 40 minutes. So yeah, we were starving by then. But nevertheless, if it was just me eating, it probably would have been a disaster because I was that hungry. But because I was sat with others and we actually spoke, it slowed the process right down. So it wasn't just me versus the food plate anymore. It was us having a conversation and eating in between. So again, the timing of that meal probably halved. So, I was starving, but by the time I finished my sushi, I wasn't still starving to the point where I would have probably buried myself in the brownies. So I actually had some brownies left over. I didn't nail them all. And I don't know how I didn't nail them all. They were so moreish. I was like eating them. We're like, Jesus Christ, you want more? So yeah, do not ever have brownies from Cutlery Works in Sheffield. There's like a dessert place. Don't ever have them because they are the devil. Unbelievable. So another thing that I find is not really great around Christmas and around social occasions, especially with family. It's a little bit of stigma around food, and almost like certain people food shame you. So people are going to be like, what are you going to eat out of Tupperware because it's Christmas? It's like, well, yes. Imagine this, right? Show me the foot, guys. If you had an illness and you had to eat certain foods for a specific reason, would anyone shame you for that? No. If you were sat there eating total garbage, why wouldn't anyone shame you for that? Because one is actually damaging your health. Other one is actually benefiting you and your goals and is making you happy. Why would anyone shame you for doing something that makes you happy and that actually has a benefit towards your goals? Regardless of the times of the year, do what makes you happy. I'll tell you this now, guys. If you want to sit there and pig out and it makes you happy, you fucking do it. I want you to do it. But if you want to train on Christmas Day, if you want to eat your meals on Christmas Day and not be a total pig, you do that because you're doing you and you're not doing anyone any harm. You're still participating. You're still being present with your family, but you are staying on your own schedule. And I'm not being funny. Like, if your family members know you and know how much this means to you, like, they're going to be like, oh my God, like, well done. You're managing to stay on plan while we are sat here being pigs. That should be the kind of, it's not going to be the kind of thing that we see across the board. We are still always going to get family members that are going to be like, do you have to eat this here? Because trust me, I get it all the time. I've been competing since I was 16. So I've been competing for 10 years. Every single year, I have the same conversation. And I'm like, yeah, I am going to eat this. No, I'm not going to eat that all day. No, I'm not going to drink. I literally have to repeat myself every year. But it is what it is. I think the key things is do not let people pressure you. And the stigma that's always there, it's always going to be there, guys. So you have to do you. And sometimes, you just have to not rise to it and have a conversation with family members and say, look, guys, like, this makes me happy. Like, why should I not do what makes me happy? Like, bodybuilding isn't a chore. If it was a chore, you shouldn't be doing it. It's as simple as that. If it doesn't give you joy and pleasure, don't do it. If you want to have a full day off and do whatever you want on Christmas Day, do so. Do what makes you happy. For me, Christmas Day, I train every single Christmas Day and I open the gym every single Christmas Day. It makes me happy. This is what I want to do as an individual. This is not what I'm telling you guys to do. I want you all to do what makes you happy. If that means resting and eating chocolate all day, you do that, and we can rectify that the day after. Probably do a couple of days of just protein and veggies so your digestion comes back to normal. That's something, by the way, I had to do beforehand. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. 100%. I was actually dieting one year around Christmas time, and it didn't end well. I think it was like 2013. 2013, I was doing like a bit of a sharp diet, and Christmas just went to total shit pot. So I had to do like 2 days of literally protein and veggies because my food was like still digesting the next day. I ate that much. So there's always things you can do and mitigate things if you do go over the board and pull it back real quick the day after. And trust me, if you're going hard for a couple of days, your digestion is going to be so skewed and you're probably going to feel so full, you're not even going to want to eat the day after. So sometimes, if you guys know that your family's are feeders, Christmas Day, the day after, you might want to just do protein and veggies anyway. I know that's probably what I'll do. But we'll move on to the kind of approach on Christmas soon, once I kind of go through my points. So the pressure from others to eat, I think that's something that we all fall under. I know I get pressured to eat all the time. And it's like, I have to explain myself and say, look, like I will eat when I want to eat. Right now, I don't actually want to eat. So please don't pressure me. What you'll realize as well, guys, is your family members will want to pressure you because they don't understand that, you can actually eat. To them, majority of the time, they think that you want to eat, but you're not eating because you're doing this. And that's not the case, So sometimes you have to explain this when people are trying to pressure us to kind of participate, that, it's our choice to eat. Like we will eat when we want to eat. So maybe, I will eat later, but right now I'm choosing not to eat. So always say that it is a choice. That's something that I have to do quite frequently, especially with like older family members, aunties, and as you can imagine, Polish families, the older guys, they're quite feeders. So you have to kind of remind them every year, bad memory. So I have to tell them, look, bodybuilding isn't about starving yourself. I do eat, like I will eat when I want to eat. Right now, I'm still full from last meal that you just fed me. So I don't want to continue eating, otherwise I'll be sick. So that's one thing that we kind of can battle ahead when it comes to pressure. And I feel like you will get pressure from your friends at time to time, especially if your friends aren't really in the industry. What you will realize is because they're unable to really adhere to the plan, they will feel like they have to almost break your spirit. And it's like a success to them if they get you to do something that you don't really want to do. And it's like, dude, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. So sometimes you might fall under that category as well, where you will have to explain yourself. But do not fall under pressure. Do not pressure eat. Do not do something that you do not want to do. Ultimately, this whole conversation is based around you being happy and around you not getting down about these occasions and about off-plan eating, because ultimately, all these things I mentioned can actually have a negative impact on you mentally, because I know, based off my experiences, it has on me. Like, it really has in past. Like, when I didn't want to eat and I got pressured to eat and I was eating for sake of eating, it's like it doesn't feel nice when you're sat there uncomfortable, like with your gut blowing out, and like you're having to eat because people are telling you. Like, it's just not that great, to be honest. So I did mention reducing the food slightly. However, I do want to go into a little bit more detail with this, guys. Do not reduce to the point where it will force you to binge. I've seen this before where people kind of bank the calories for the cheat meal and the cheat meal ends up being a full-on binge fest. Again, the whole point is having a happy medium where you will reduce your calories slightly during the day, but it's not going to be to the point where you're unable to, control yourself and just pig out. So my option and my favorite approach is increasing my veggie intake, fasting for a little while in the morning, so my meals are actually closer together, and eating my meals regular up until that meal as well, so that I'm actually going to that meal with my normal meal timing schedule. So my appetite isn't completely through the roof, because listen, I can eat big. Like, I really can. If I was to go in for a cheat meal or an off-plan meal, whatever you want to call it, and I was in a place where I was starving like last night, that could have easily ended up a proper binge fest if, I wasn't just sat there thinking, right, You're going to be all right. Just eat it and you'll be fine. Because I was literally sweating. I literally went hypo. My blood sugar must have been probably like 2.1. Like by the time food came, I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to go in now. But again, managed to persevere. But back in the day, guys, I kid you not, I would have been ordering more food whilst I was eating. And that would have just been a disaster. So something I don't actually want any of you to do during this time, because let's face it, we're all going to be participating in many events, family occasions right now. So if we can actually do this, we will. So the training part, do not try and increase the cardio around the days where you will actually eat as well. End of the day, we've all got goals. If we smash ourselves to bits with cardio, again, that's taken away from the goals. And let's face it, guys, 30 minutes cardio, what's that going to burn? 300 calories? It's 2 biscuits. It's not going to do that much damage limitation. It's just not. But what it will do, it will probably zap your recovery where you're unable to train as hard as you need to. So this is what we need to be smart. Be active, stay active around your meals. If you are going to have a huge meal, go for a walk after that meal so that your digestion is actually better and you're not quite as uncomfortable and helps get things moving. Do not increase your expenditure extremely to try and mitigate and get the calorie balance right. Because for you to try and, burn off a full pack of cookies, you're probably going to have to do 3 hours of Stairmaster. We're not going to do 3 hours of Stairmaster. I won't. And I'm pretty sure none of you guys want to, especially around Christmas time. So be more mindful of the approach, control yourself, and portion control is everything. This is something I always say. Eating off plan is not an issue, guys. But if you approach it with the mindset of, I am going in, there will be issues and you will pile on a lot of body weight and body fat super quick, especially if you are close to your show or if you are lean, especially if you are lean. When you are lean, you are super responsive to actually gaining body fat. You're not gaining muscle, but what is easy when you are lean is to gain body fat real quick. If your calories are at a certain level across the week, if they continue rising through these off-plan meals, it's just going to pile on top to the point where your rate of gain goes from here to basically this straight away. And it's very hard to pull that back, guys, as well. It really is. So before I carry on waffling, does anyone ask any questions or anything anyone wants to kind of bring to the table, speak about, any issues? I can probably see about 5 people in this conversation that have probably mentioned a couple of things to me this week. So speak up. Stefan, Let's go. Unmute yourself, bro. My Icelandic warrior.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go.
Thought I had unmuted me.
I'm actually wet through. I've been going in that hard this morning.
Yeah.
I need a bath.
Yeah, I actually went the other weekend with my daughter, just had like a bit of bakery food with her just to be around the family. Then after that, just went out with the wife, and then the next morning I was just blown out in the face. And I was like, what the fuck did I do? And I was just mad to myself, and I thought, okay, I must have eaten too much, and that was the only thing in my head. But when I basically counted it and everything and just put it in, it wasn't that. Then, of course, I went into the blood test 2 days after, and seems to be like slight difference between my sodium and kalium, potassium. Didn't know why that was, because it basically dropped the sodium, and that was because I was just blown out in the face, and I was like, why is that happening always to me? And I was like mad to myself, okay, now I'm gonna get fat. I woke this morning, took pictures. I'm lean as fuck still, so I'm very happy with myself. But
hey, you can get in your own head sometimes about eating.
Yeah.
There's two ways. You can get in your own head sometimes where you restrict yourself too much, and then you get in your own head where you're like, I can't eat. Tell yourself that you cannot eat, and you just end up just overeating massively. So there's two like extremes. So it's just a case of finding that happy medium where you're going to be okay. And you know what? Like, if a normal person that doesn't understand what it feels like was sat in this conversation, listening to us speak, they would be like, oh my God, what a bunch of weirdos. They really would. But like, one thing I want to highlight to each every single one of you, like, it's okay to feel like this. I have felt shit about my food, and I felt like my mind was going west many times. So don't ever feel like I am going to judge you through you feeling a certain way. Like, if you're struggling or if you've got issues, you need to speak up, because there's always ways to work around it. Like, so no one should ever feel like they can't speak to their coach or even a family member or the friend about this, because it's normal. Like, it's normal within what we do. End of. And that's the biggest thing that we need to highlight. Like, there's people that demonize it almost on social media, and they make out like they're robots. Like, listen, if I need to, I will fucking suffer for a year, but I will struggle. Like, I will struggle just like everyone else does. So I think the biggest thing that we need to highlight, it's okay to speak up, and it's okay to have these issues, and know that it just gets better, and you can improve the process through better mindset and better approach towards these things. I think that's the biggest point of this conversation, the biggest highlight that I do want to make to everyone. It's okay to do so, for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing, now I'm with the family, and there's like a Thanksgiving, so there's usually a feast, and now I'm just prepping myself and just eating my food, and then I'm just, because it's just a turkey and something, so I'm just gonna go mindful. I'm not gonna go there and...
It's turkey and veg. So, right, do you know the best approach for that is? That's the approach that I normally take on Christmas Day. What is the most filling food you can eat? Meat and veg. So what I always do on Christmas Day is, I think Christmas Day this year is a training day, yeah. So what I normally do, I will lower my carbs down slightly throughout the day, but not to the point where I'm starving. I don't want to do that. I will probably get slightly hungry, but that's okay. On Christmas Day, I get a plate, a big plate. I don't do any, double platers. No, I don't. I get a big plate that I know I'm going to enjoy myself. And it's the same kind of size plate as everyone else. Just because I'm a bodybuilder doesn't mean I need a bigger plate or I need two plates. Let's just highlight that one. Yeah. We all know you're a bodybuilder. We all know you eat plenty of food. You don't need two plates. You don't need extra. This time is about you and the family, not the food. Again, my point earlier in the conversation. What I normally do is I load the plate up with more meat and veg, because I know if I eat a larger portion of meat, I will not fit as many potatoes in and as many chips or whatever else there is on the plate and as many puddings, because I'm already going to be a lot more satiated through the extra meat. So within that approach, bud, you know that everyone is going to want you to have a lot of food. Don't restrict yourself. Add extra meat and have a good sized portion, same as everyone else, because then, you know what? Nobody can turn around to say to you that you're not eating enough, and nobody can turn around and say to you that you're not participating either. Yeah. Because you're having just the same, if not slightly more than everyone else. And I'm pretty sure you having a little bit more is going to make people happy around you anyway. Because let's face it, to most people that aren't in the know, bodybuilding is about starving yourself. That's what it's all about. To people that don't know.
People think that.
Do you know what, though? But that's the truth, though. That's what people genuinely think. Like, and even some of the family members will think that you starve yourself, that you don't eat. And it's mind-blowing, because they don't know that sometimes in off-season you get to a point where you don't even want to look at food. So it's like two extremes, isn't there? But that's actually a great point, mate, because that brings me to the next subject of what we can do to actually, mitigate overeating, Christmas Day, etc. is the best approach for me personally. Again, I like to train on Christmas Day. If you guys don't do it. But if you enjoy it and it's not going to get in the way of your family's plans, maybe try and go and train super early so you get your workout in, and then eat your foods as normal, increase your veggie intake, allow that buffer for the calories. And when you do have that meal with your family and friends, more meat, more veggies, more gravy, get it on, eat the meal. Do not go for seconds or thirds or fourths. I used to do fourths. I'll admit, I used to do fourths. You know, don't do that because, again, you're making it about food, not the meal and participation. If you make it about participation, you will sit down with your family, whoever, have the meal, enjoy each other's company, talk, take your time, don't rush the meal. That's the main thing. That's pretty much what I'm going to do on Christmas Day anyway. You know, my food isn't low. I'm not starving. Don't get me wrong. I'm still very hungry, but I'm not at a point now where, you know, I can eat an arm and a leg. So I will be able to probably mitigate things a lot easier. If I was 2 weeks post show, I would probably be quite worried because I'd be like, right, I'm going to fucking go in. But, you know, I'm not. So I think each and every single one of us can probably control it a little bit better, for sure. So when it comes to obviously the Christmas Day, the easiest way to do, guys, is more meat, more veggies. Again, portion control, which I always highlight when I have conversations with people about eating, is off-plan eating. All these meals, they're not an issue. But what is an issue if you just overdo them? It's as simple as that. Like if you know how to enjoy the food and if you know how to portion control things, you're going to be totally fine. Like you can eat off-plan 2 to 3 times a week. But if your off-plans are 3,000 calories, that is when we start seeing issues. And that is when we start seeing the weight gain come on and on and on without stopping. So that's just the main thing, really. And again, with off-plan eating, be mindful of your choices. Like if you want to have a date night with your partner twice a week, make it one when it's a little bit more adventurous, you know, tapas, whatever you want, a little bit more calories. But the other date night, it could be a steak restaurant where you literally have the same meal as you would on your plan, but you're dressed up, you're sat in a nice restaurant, you're enjoying each other's company, enjoying each other's time, spending time together. You're not eating out of a Tupperware box. You know, that's what it's all about. And again, if your partner is into bodybuilding, do you know what? Even if your partner is into bodybuilding, like these occasions are great because you're spending time together. You're doing shit that you don't do in prep. And you're not ruining your progress through being a pig because you're having a wholesome meal that is exactly what you would probably have at home, but it's served on a plate and it costs you 10 times as much. But you're dressed up, you look nice, you're having a great time, blah, 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 and the rest of it.
Do you use DTAs, glucose disposal agents, with like bigger meals? No. I just want to ask you about that.
I use them once in the morning. That is it. Just for the benefits I do have with reducing oxidative stress as well. But the best thing you can do after a big meal is a 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
That is better than any GDA in the world.
Okay.
Absolutely, man.
That's good to know. Because, so that's just the thing. I've been given DTAs and I've just been thinking how they would work with these meals. Okay. Good to know.
What I like to do, mate, is just get the whole family out on a walk, mate. So normally when we have our Christmas dinner, me and Meg will go and take the dogs out and all the family come on a walk. And that's nice. Again, you're doing something together.
Yeah.
You're not just sat on the sofa like dying, you know, you're doing something together as a family.
You should come to Iceland because the weather can change in like 10 minutes. So we go out, it's snowing. 5 minutes later, it's maybe raining. Then it's like,
love it, mate. Get the snowballs. Let's go. We're fighting. Straight away, straight on it. Headshots, mate, everywhere. Telling you.
Because you were talking about the family, I basically changed the habit of the family. It usually wanted to have like a big feast with this and that. And then we basically started, instead of having too fat meat, we started having more lean, like turkey and like leaner meat. So it has been changing. So I feel a lot better also my dad and everyone else, because it was usually a feast. It just
Hey.
picked out and you were dying.
Listen,
for 2 days.
it's healthier as well. It's a lot healthier, and it probably tastes just as good, but you're probably getting half the damage, which is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
this is a good habit, you know, you've created a good habit there as well.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like that's what this game is all about, creating good habits that are going to mentally and physically have a great positive impact on you. Mentally, especially when it comes to eating. So it's all about creating habits that are going to allow you to continue making progress without restricting you and without leading to any further issues with food focus, with binging, with eating. You know, that's what it's all about, creating these habits that, you know, you can control yourself and you can actually, you know, control these situations around you, control, you know, your own decisions and control your own eating. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. Does anyone got any questions or any input? No?
Hello.
Let's go. Nathan, I can always count on you, mate. I can always count on you.
Well, I think it's the frequency of events that's the problem more than anything else. So I understand like one day, well, possibly two for me because my birthday is Boxing Day, but one day being Christmas when there's lots of other people around that you wanna I guess engage with is fine. But last year we kind of, because we were in the middle still kind of of the pandemic, there wasn't the same volume of like all the other extra stuff as well. Like there wasn't this catch up with this friendship group and the guys from uni that I only see once a year, and then every single account from work wanting to have like let's have a get together Christmas evening thing. And I think I've got to, I feel as though as much as it's getting my own head straight, I've got to sort of manage the expectations with everybody else as well. Because like the people from work, they're expecting the Nathan of 2 years ago of the let's have two mains and one more pint than anybody else is having. And that's not what they're going to get. They're not going to get this year.
Listen, that is their expectation, not yours.
Yeah.
Ultimately, refer back to what I said. Will doing that make you happy? You should never do anything that's not cumulatively, no. Because again, you know, that's what it's all about. You being happy ultimately. If the two mains and extra pint is going to make you happy, you go and do that. But if it's not, I feel like, and that's my personal opinion, whether you agree or not, I don't care. That's my opinion. Everyone should respect how you feel, and everyone should respect your own decisions, and everyone should respect your own happiness, because ultimately that is what counts. If people care about you, if people have your best interests at heart, they should respect what makes you happy, and they should respect your decisions that lead to that happiness. That's my 2 pence. Jesus. That was a bit serious, that, mate. Sorry. Yeah, go on, mate.
With friends, it's less of a challenge because they understand more, I guess, with a bit more distance from them, so I have less control over what the event is. But so, for example, we've got an account dinner next week. We're going to a steak restaurant, and they've sent like the set menu stuff through, and I'm supposed to pick. And I've just contacted the restaurant and said, all these things look to have loads of butter and sauce on them. Can I please have just a steak that you've just cooked, please?
Mate, smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. See, you're making the right choices, and you're making the situation work towards your benefit as well, which is great. You're still going to participate. You're still going to be present. You're still going to do what they want you to do, but you're choosing to have the option that is going to benefit you and your goals and make you happy, that's fantastic. That's a win-win all around. That is the goal. That is the whole, point of what we are doing here. That's the whole point of this conversation, is managing all these occasions and you being happy, it not taking away from your goals, not taking away from your social time, and managing it so we don't do any damage, mentally and physically. Happy days. Anyone else, guys? Any Q&As this week? Hands up, like we're at school. No? Yes, bro, you muted. Unmute yourself. There we go.
How's that?
Yes.
Hey, man. So say you're going out for a meal with your missus and you've kind of pulled back a meal or your biggest meal and maybe cut some fats throughout the day because you're going out for a steak and you might have a dessert or something, but you go out, you change your mind, and the food that you have for that meal is actually a lot less than what you've actually cut back on. Is it all right to kind of have that rest day, off meal plan day a little bit less calories, or would you go, right, I need my 3,000 calories for that rest day? Say your total
Mate,
calories were 2,500. Does it matter too much?
if you're over or under by 200-300 calories, it doesn't matter. It's not going to create no issues.
Yeah.
It won't at all. But what will create issues if you're having 2 to 3 off-plan meals per week and your calories are over by like 1,000 or 2,000. That's accumulating then to an extra 3 to 4,000 calorie surplus, and that will equate to 2 to 3 kilo of body weight.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah,
mate. Sometimes peaking off season, mate, you're probably going to be happy to undereat. You're probably going to be like, ugh, it's great not to feel stuffed.
Yeah, for sure. And just with the GDA, so is it, say I always have a GDA maybe 20 minutes before my post-workout meal. So I would have finished my intra-workout maybe 40 minutes before the end of my session. And then by the time my blood sugars come down,
around the workout perimeter, mate, there's literally zero need for any GDAs, because the training itself is going to drive that uptake further more than any GDA will. Where a GDA would come in useful is not around the workout perimeter. So any other meals, which for me, with meal one is the only time I really use a GDA.
Is that because your meal one is your biggest carb meal?
No, that's just because that's what I like it. Whereas, if you want to use it with biggest carb meal. I just prefer to have a meal one, so I remember. 2, it's not near my workout perimeter. And 3, my meal one does tend to get quite heavy anyway. And to be honest with GDAs, I don't feel like there's any need to use more than 1 serving a day. It holds no benefit, in my opinion. If you need to use that much GDAs, you're just simply too fat.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Cool, cheers, man.
Straight to the point, bro.
Yeah, love it.
You've got like one last chance, guys, for a question. If not, I will let you all go. Anyone contribute anything? Any questions?
Mate. I've got one.
Yes, let's go.
See, going in on a meal, say once a week, you go out, you have your main, and then you have a dessert. Is that going to affect your progress fucking a lot if you do it once a week?
Mate, not at all. In off season, I want you to do it once a week.
Aye.
In prep, you probably don't want to do a meal once a week. No. But in off season, mate, a starter, a main, and dessert, that's probably 1,200 calories, 1,300 calories tops. And I mean tops. Mate, that's not going to do anything. As long as you're being smart and as long as you're implementing everything that we mentioned in the call.
What's that? What's there, mate? Sorry, that froze.
Go on, mate.
You froze there. What did you say?
Which bit did you get?
Nothing.
Right, so 12, right, a starter and main and dessert, right?
Aye.
What will that equate to? Maybe 12 to 1,300 calories. That's nothing, right? You can do that once a week with absolutely zero damage because you're not going to overeat. It's a starter, main, and dessert. You're being sensible. These are normal people portions. So if you was to, for example, on that given day, bring your calories down slightly across from your other meals and do that off-plan meal on a big training day, that would not be an issue. And I bet your weight wouldn't even budge. If anything, you'd probably lose weight. So as far as one off-plan meal like this, every single week in off-season, even twice a week, it's not going to create an issue whatsoever. As long as you're implementing the things that we spoke about earlier in the call and you're simply not overeating. Off-plan eating is not an issue. Overeating is. That's something I literally say and repeat week to week to many, many people.
Right, man. Thank you.
Easy, mate.
On the subject of off-plan eating, anyone have any recommendations for a good burger place in London?
Yes, boy. London. Whereabouts?
We were in Brixton or Stretton, somewhere around that area. But we don't care. We're going to travel. Like we need to go train anyway.
Drop Meg a message.
There's
She knows a burger place. I think it's Camden Garden, Covent Garden.
Yeah, we'd probably go up around there anyway. I'd say.
Covent Garden.
I think we're actually going to train. We have a gym picked out that's actually near Camden. We're going to train in. I think so.
Yeah, it's Camden Market and Covent Garden. I think Camden Market. That's where the burger place is. I'll get Meg to drop you a message with what name is of it.
Yeah, sorry.
Mate, if you like,
I do 2 training sessions today, and I just take 40 hours instant just to pass it all out.
Yeah, just do meal loss protocol, mate, and you'll
yeah,
no problems, mate.
Yeah, so
if you go to, sorry, mate.
I was going to say, if you want the best cheesecake in London after your main in Camden, go to Whipped. It's called Whipped. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. That's all from me, guys.
Send location, bro. Send location.
Will do.
There's a place called Meat Liquor that's supposed to be really good as well.
Meat liquor.
Mate,
Yeah,
we're all in. We're all going now. We're all going now. We've got taxis going now, mate.
I'm going to take my missus there. Yeah, nice one.
Yes. Well, to be fair, mate, we'll end it on here, mate, because something quite wrong just nearly slipped out. But right, guys, thanks for today's call. Appreciate you all. Go on, bro. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if you're in Camden Market, go and try out some Bang Bang Chicken. It's a little Asian store. He does the best fried chicken, and he gives out little free pieces as you go past. And you hear him, he sings like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston songs. He sounds like he's got a little voice box going on. Real lovely guy. And Bang Bang Chicken is the one, I'm telling you.
Unreal.
Bang Bang Chicken. Noted, right? Thanks.
I agree.
Yeah.
Enjoy. We can always rely on my people for some foods. Yes.
That's it. Fatty pum-pums.
Oh, yeah. Guys, thank you so much for today's call. Appreciate you all. Enjoy us.
Cheers, Cuba.
We'll catch up soon.